Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. Just made it. Welcome to another market open stream, and the bell has just rung. So, what's going to happen today? The FOMC meeting starts, but how much pain is ahead? Well, let's discuss those things and more. Also, interesting development with XRP. So I got to talk about that as well. All right, let's get started. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com. And of course, make sure you follow all my channel out there as well. All right, good morning, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I made it. I made it this morning. So on time, but looking at the market didn't update. Well, it's looking red today. It's looking red today, and that's because we have the most powerful man on earth in terms of controlling markets. He and his buddies, the FOMC board governors, they will be starting their very important meeting today, and we will get results tomorrow. So we're not going to get it today. We're going to get it tomorrow. And then we will know how much pain is ahead, or how much is the Fed fund rate will go up by. Okay, how much will rates go up by? Right now, as it stands, there's an 84% chance, and I don't know who gets the vote on this. 84% chance that it'll be 75 basis points. So if it comes in line with that, I think nothing happens to the market. We could actually maybe see a little bit of recovery afterwards, since markets have been selling off for a little bit. But there's a 16% chance that it could be 100 basis points. Now, the good news about these predictions is that the 16% was 20% yesterday. So it dropped 4%. So more and more people think that it's not going to be 100 basis points, right? But then again, who knows? Maybe Powell and the governors, they're going to decide they have to get serious before the end of the year. Maybe. And and we're not the only country considering 100 basis points. In fact, Sweden just came out and said they're launching a 100 basis point hike because they want to get back their inflation down to 2% again. But their inflation isn't as bad as it seems. I saw a number in here. Actually, no, I'm sorry. They're a little bit worse than us. Their inflation right now is 9% annually, so a little bit worse than U.S., where like 8.2, I think, 8.2, 8.3, right? So Sweden just did a 100 basis point rate hike. So will the U.S. follow? Hopefully not. If it happens, there's going to be destruction. And that's not what we want, right? We don't want destruction. But I did find something else that's quite interesting that kind of relates to this that I want to show you guys. So I found this terrific article that posted this. All right. And you may be wondering, well, what is this? Well, this is comparing, the purple is comparing the Fed fund rate traditionally, okay, versus the CPI, inflation. And this goes all the way back to the 50s. Okay, so it goes back for a long time. And you can see whenever CPI or inflation goes up, the fund rate also goes up. In fact, throughout history, for the last 70 years, the fund rate has always been higher than inflation. And the reason being, the Fed wants to crush inflation, right? So look at what happened in the 80s when CPI was even higher than it is now, right? You look at the 70s and 80s, it was 9%. It went up even higher than that in the teens. And look at how high the fund rate was. The fund rate was at like above 16%. I don't even know where that goes to, like 20% or something like that. And that happened in the 80s. But then you look at the 90s when CPI crept up a little bit. Even in 2010, when CPI went up a little bit, the fund rate was much higher. And look at where we are now. The inflation is 8.5. It went down. This is lagging a little bit. So it was like 8.3% or something that was reported last month. And our fund rate currently is still 2.33. So do you see how there's a discrepancy here and how it's very different than previous times? This is why so many people think that the U.S. is in major trouble, because in order to really curb inflation, we need to get that fund rate higher, much higher, which is why a lot of the board governors, a lot of the Fed presidents from from the certain states, they said we need to be a lot more hawkish. We need to get that fund rate up quite tremendously. But I can't even imagine, right, how we're going to get up to like 10% or 15% for fund rate at this rate, right? We're already going like 75 basis point every single time. They would have to go up like 200, 300 basis points in order to get anywhere close to that anytime soon. So this is kind of eye-opening for me in terms of what was done before versus what is being done now. We're just doing things so differently right now, I guess, right? I guess one of the counterpoints to this is, well, that 8.5% really isn't 8.5%. It's because supply chain issues and the war and oil, energy is driving that upwards, right? You could have that argument, but still, even if you discount all those things, core inflation is still, in the 6th percentile, right? And we're nowhere close to 6% either. Anyways, just wanted to throw that out there. This could be continuing for quite some time. All right. And then after tomorrow's announcement of the next rate hike, we're going to have another one in November in the U.S. and another one in December, right? And we'll see how hawkish Powell will be during those. And then we move into next year. And many people think so much destruction would have would have caused the economy to crash so much that in 2023 that the Fed will have to cut rates once again. I don't know if that's true looking at this chart though. They may just continue well on into 2023, keep raising rates until it's like 8% or 10% to really curb inflation. That could be the case. All right, what else is there? Well, with all this talk about inflation, let's talk about currencies because it relates. The Japanese yen is at a 24-year low, all right? And they're not the only ones. The British pound is at like a 40-year low, and this is all in comparison to the USD, right? So there's a lot of other countries out there that's suffering from inflation. Their economies are not doing this well either. So basically banks and traders and hedge funds, they're selling off those currencies for the USD, which is why the DXY continues just go up and up and up and up and up and up. And anyways, according to this article, Japan is in such a bad position right now. They may be looking for intervention because they're going down a path that they may not be able to recover from. That's how bad it is in Japan right now. And that's not good. That's not good. It's a large economy, and one of the biggest reasons why DXY goes up, because after the euro, the second biggest thing the USD is pegged against is the Japanese yen, and that keeps free falling. And we know when a DXY is strong, markets tend to not do well. So that's also a situation we're in right now, and DXY is not coming down because of it. So on a macro scale, it's still pretty ugly. It's pretty ugly out there. And unfortunately, markets today is not reacting so well. Dow is down negative 300 something points. Bitcoin has fallen below 19,000 again. Just yesterday when I was streaming, it was like 19.4, 19.5. Last night it was about 19.5, and now it's fallen to 18.8. So there's definitely a lot of fear today. And just last night too, I covered something really horrible about the SEC. I'll recap that in a little bit. Also, Ford warns investors of an extra $1 billion in supply chain costs. $1 billion. That's just one manufacturer. What about all the other manufacturers? I mean, look at Ford today. Absolutely getting clobbered because of this announcement, right? It's because they can't sell enough cars, and because the supply chain issues is still ongoing, right? So one of the reasons people may be wondering, or one of the questions people may have about this whole inflation thing is like, why can't we curb inflation? It's because supply chain issue still is ongoing, right? When manufacturers, they have like millions of cars just sitting on the lots that they can't sell because they don't have a certain chip to be able to make their cars operational, there's nothing they could do about it, right? And stuff like this drives prices higher because the demand is still there. So until the demand is gone, well, then price will stay high, right? And that's what Powell's trying to do. But if you smash the demand too much, then that's not good either. All right, anyways, so yeah, there's that. Overall, not looking good, but does that mean I'm turning bearish? No, I'll never turn bearish on Bitcoin because all this proves why we need to all be in Bitcoin. All this that's happening right now, right? All this rate hikes, inflation, improper management of money, of rates, of everything, of debt, right? Everything pinpoints that we need something better. We need something that the people do not have to fear. Do not have to fear about, quantitative tightening or easing or fund rates going up and inflation being affected and all this stuff, right? That's why we need to turn to Bitcoin and stick with Bitcoin. So despite the fact there's a lot of headwinds right now, despite the fact that Bitcoin can't seem to gain any momentum right now, but not all is lost. And that is why more and more people turn to Bitcoin. The supply is still decreasing. With every halving event, the number of Bitcoin being released is decreasing. And the circulating supply is also decreasing because of the holders and because of newcomers in this space that are just fed up with what's going on, right? And here's an encouraging chart. Supply last active 5+ years. Well, around 25%. 25%, a quarter of the overall supply right now has not moved in 5 years. And that number keeps growing, and it's growing faster than ever, right? And I don't have the other charts with me, but you look at anything that's measurable with Bitcoin, the number of addresses, the difficulty, the miners, the hash rate, right? Number of addresses holding 0.01 Bitcoin, 0.1 Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin, everything. Supply held 10+ years. All these on-chain metrics show that Bitcoin is growing and stronger than ever. The only exception is the price, but we know price lags when it comes to Bitcoin, and eventually it catches up, and that's when we will all get rewarded. So don't give up on Bitcoin despite all the negative headwinds that we're facing right now. All right. Something else that's interesting, take it with a grain of salt, but last year, many people started talking about the Wyckoff Method. And if you look at what has happened since June to now, and this is actually going June of 2021, not June of this year, but June of 2021 till now, it actually looks like a textbook pattern in terms of how Wyckoff goes, right? So we know that the big whales continue to manipulate the market, right? We know that for their benefit, and they could do so. Recently, I do think a lot of it was happening with Ethereum. But you look at what's going on right now, well, it's almost textbook, right? It looks identical to what a Wyckoff pattern looks like. So take a grain with salt because there's a lot of headwinds out there, but, who knows? Who knows? If this follows through, we could see a good recovery back up to 30,000 by the end of the year. And that's what we want to see. All right. What else is there? Well, as for some crypto news, people may be wondering about Voyager. Alameda is going to repay $200 million in collateral back to Voyager. No, loan back to Voyager, and Voyager will pay back collateral to Alameda. So there was this weird relationship how Voyager was going to borrow from Alameda, even though Alameda owed Voyager money, right? That's all being solved now because that whole thing is just so convoluted and didn't make a lot of sense. But will this save Voyager? Unfortunately not, but at least this makes the accounting a little bit easier. And of course, Sam Bankman-Fried said, no problem. I got billions. I got billions. Repaying $200 million is nothing to me. And what may end up happening, it belongs to him afterwards because it's rumored that he wants to buy out Voyager and their assets anyway. So he's just repaying what's going to come back to him eventually. So it's all a big circle right there. Something else that happened that's not good. Never heard of this, but Wintermute suffers a $160 million hack, a DeFi play on top of Ethereum. And this is just a brute force attack. People figured it out that because of their address scheme, it was pretty easy to just basically brute force your way in, and that's what someone did. So unfortunately, $160 million was hacked. So hopefully none of you guys suffered that. I've never heard of this project before, but it's a big hack. And this is one of the reasons why, one of the biggest reasons why I think, I covered this last night. This guy right here, he wants to take control of all of Ethereum, everything that's on top of Ethereum, not just Ethereum itself, but every project, including DeFi project on top of Ethereum. Because his justification is a lot of the transactions that happen on the Ethereum network happens within the U.S. And because of that, the U.S. has jurisdiction and the SEC has jurisdiction to basically, take control of everything. So I don't agree with it, but these type of addresses, exploits and hacks. Only strengthens Gensler's case because he's going to say, well, the SEC is out to protect the individuals and protect the markets, right? And we want to protect individuals from hacks like this. So unfortunately, this could not have come at a worse time while Gensler is trying to take over basically all of Ethereum, right? So yeah, not a good one, not a good hack. Hopefully none of you guys lost money. Again, I never heard of that project before. All right, now what about XRP? Well, XRP actually, despite today, I think XRP is doing well, and that's because the CFTC commissioner or one of the commissioners visits Ripple's office, right? And people are wondering why. We know that CFTC does not agree with the SEC. CFTC has come out and said they want to be the crypto watchdog. And they have come out and said, for sure, we should control Bitcoin and Ethereum, not the SEC. And people are putting two and two together. If they're visiting Ripple, maybe they're considering of taking on Ripple too. And if so, that would officially mean that Ripple and XRP is not a security, right? So I think this has people very excited about the prospects of it. But keep in mind, right? The SEC is not going to let go. SEC and Gary just declared war on Ethereum. And that has to do with Ripple because Ripple is trying to use that as a defense that Ethereum is a commodity, and that's why they're a commodity too and not a security. So I think this whole thing is all tied together in some way. But the CFTC, since they're official agency, maybe they, being involved, could offset things or take power away. Because right now, no one's challenging the SEC. Who has the money and who has the time to take on the SEC? But maybe the CFTC does, which would be very positive. So we'll see. We'll see if this amounts to anything. But here's a nice picture here of Caroline Pham visiting Brad Garlinghouse at Ripple's headquarters. So we'll see. We'll see if the CFTC has the balls to take on Gary. All right, that's pretty much it. Overall market getting a little worse. A lot of people very fearful about tomorrow. I guess we'll see. we'll see how much pain is coming. All right, let's do some Q&A. Red Rubles, do you think the reason the SEC won't disclose what they have on ETH is because they're building a case against ETH? Was this strategic planning? I think yes and no. I think that they can't just give it up because if they lose that case and courts declare that Ripple is not a security, then it's very hard for SEC to declare other crypto as securities, and basically it's a very damning blow, and it gives the CFTC more ammunition to say, well, we should be the crypto watchdog, not the SEC, and that's not what Gensler wants. He is completely he's very power hungry right now, for sure. Scooby-Doo, did you read the new White House regulatory framework for digital assets? I can link the report. I read parts of it, but it's nothing set in stone. The next thing is for a U.S. Treasury to come up with a lot of stuff. So that's going to take a while. I think they have until July of next year to submit their findings and stuff. So it's something that we don't have to worry about in the U.S. for a little bit. Is Do Kwon still on the run? Yes, Singapore said he's no longer in Singapore. So he's on the run, even though Do Kwon is very arrogant and tweeting out that he's not on the run. But yeah. It's funny. It would be funny if the rest of the SEC does not agree with Gensler, and whether or not they could try to kick him out, have a mutiny, or something like that. I don't think that'll happen, but that would be funny if something like that did happen. Other countries don't care about ETH. I mean, there's a lot of countries that do not care. I mean, they just want a free market, right? I mean, the whole basis of crypto is really to have a free market that's outside the purview of the regulators, at least in theory. That's not happening. Regulators obviously want to get involved, and more importantly, they want to tax individuals that have been making money. But a lot of countries still just letting things go right now. They have bigger issues to worry about, right? And the U.S. does too. But Gary, his sole mission is to regulate securities, and he's taking advantage of the situation right now while not many people are paying attention to kind of to I don't know, just grow the SEC in a way, grow its power while no one's paying attention, while no one's fighting it. So I think that's what's happening right now. Herculano, that's an interesting name. Thank you for that. Bought 1.5 BTC yesterday. Dip. Congratulations. Gary should worry more about getting more vitamins than Ethereum. No one can explain how whales manipulate BTC is any different than the Fed manipulating the dollar. Well, the Fed has the ability. They have the right to manipulate the dollar. Whales don't have the right to manipulate BTC. Well, you could argue, sure, they can, but they have been. And even with the SEC, stock markets are still manipulated too. And somehow, when the big hedge funds in Wall Street, when they manipulate and have naked short calls, that's okay. But when you have a community come together and say, hey, we're officially going to pump this token, somehow that's frowned upon, right? I don't know. It just seems like it's It's not very fair. And it's not just tokens. I mean, like stocks too. This is one of the reasons why people hate Gensler about GME and AMC, even though they were meme stocks. But, you know, he was threatening to go after people, right? Gensler was threatening to go after people. Yet it was proven that a lot of hedge funds been naked shorting the hell out of both stocks for years, and somehow that's okay. Scooby-Doo, I already mentioned it. Yes, I just don't put a lot of weight to it right now. There's still a lot to be determined, and the U.S. Treasury has to submit their proposal by like July, so we got a lot of months to go. You know, someone just sent me how Gensler got his wealth, because I was mentioning that. You know, he's worth over $100 million. Like, where did it come from? Because generally speaking, it's like, you know, it's like financial people that really get that much money. But supposedly, you know, he was a CFO for Hillary during her campaign, and there was a lot of campaign donations left and right, and whether or not he, you know, some of it went to him. There's rumors. There's rumors out there. So USDC just listed on Robinhood. Interesting. Does that mean there's trading pairs on Robinhood for USDC now? That would be interesting. Okay. Jolamas, did you see the Nitro partnership between Cosmos and Solana? I like what I see from Solana in terms of addressing scalability issues. Yeah, I didn't see that. And totally, I mean, before they were going to solve, they don't have a scalability issue. They have a bot issue. They have a denial of service issue where you could have a lot of spam and bot attacks. So, no, I didn't hear about the partnership between Cosmos and Solana. I'll take a look at it. When ADA pump? You tell me. I don't know. Should have happened already, because we only have 2 days until the Vassal hard fork, where at this point, I guess not a lot of people are excited about it. Today, XRP is doing well because of the CFTC visit, right? So that could be good. That could be good for them. Cosmos is taking a break today. It's been very hot, but it's coming down a little bit. Stellar also, I guess people are FOMO into Stellar right now because there's a lot of rumors that Stellar may be one of the coins that SEC goes after next, since it's so similar to Ripple. But if Ripple wins the case, then that means they cannot go after Stellar. So that would be good. ApeCoin's still doing good. Algorand's still doing good today. You know, today is a mixed day, but Bitcoin, unfortunately, fell down a little bit versus yesterday. George, you are wrong. XRP is only pumping because of the educational video. Well, maybe. Because I did play last night. And whenever I play it, that's when things get wild. I need to know, like, who's actually making this prediction. See, this now jumped to 18%. It was at 16% when I started stream. The chance of a 100 basis point hike tomorrow. Now it has jumped up to 18. So within a matter of 30 minutes, it jumped 2%. That's not what we want to see. Should I loan against WBDC on Aave? No, I would not suggest it. Don't you think holding some XRP right now would be a smart decision since they have the most upside due to the case? Sure, but the case I don't believe will get resolved anytime soon. It's going to carry well into 2023. So there's that. And plus, you know, you got to remember, even before the case, XRP was struggling. So even afterwards, they may get a small pump. They may get a good, decent rally, but how sustainable are they long term? I don't know. I don't know. DXY soaring today. Yup. DXY just, unfortunately, DXY just keeps going up and up and up. We should be, you figure we should be coming down a little bit, just a little bit, but, all this bad economic news is coming out from other countries, and it just keeps pumping, the dollar up. This is bullcrap. Robinhood adds USDC and it doesn't even pump. What are you expecting to pump? USDC? USDC doesn't pump. If Robinhood added anything else, it would pump. What? Rocky Bobby, I don't even know what you're mad about. You think USDC's go pump somehow? I wonder, that's Tiberius. I wonder if there is an inverse DXY that you can buy that you could actually short the US dollar with. There probably is something like that. There probably is. I mean, there's a derivative product for like everything, really. At some point, this has to come down, right? But maybe not anytime soon. But it will come down. It can't stay high forever. Okay, I see. I see. I can't tell if someone's joking or not because there are a lot of people that ask really weird questions. Sometimes they don't make a lot of sense. So sometimes I can't tell if people are kidding or not. Euro now equals 15. Yeah, Euro now equals US dollar. Yes, at one point, Sheldon, it went even below $1. That's how bad it's gotten for the euro. What are the chances Solana could flip ETH? I would say like a 5% chance. I don't see it very high. But there's always a chance. There's always a chance, but I don't see it doing it anytime soon or ever. Joshua, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate your support. Ian says, George, I'm in Europe and I've moved all my euro into USD, going to get much worse. I mean, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm reading the same thing too. All these headlines are just really bad. The ECB, Christine Lagarde, she's very dovish, right? She's not doing a lot of rate hikes. We know that the Eurozone inflation overall is worse than the US. Britain is 10%. I just covered Sweden is at 9%. Other countries are probably suffering 9 to 10% and only predicted to go higher, right? Also, the war is still in Europe. Germany and many other countries are dependent on natural gas, and oil from Russia is being cut off. That can't be a good thing. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff happening in Europe right now that doesn't instill any confidence, which is why people are buying up the USD. Even though the USD is still devaluing itself, debasing itself by 8.2% per year right now, it's slower than the other currencies out there, which is why the DXY is going up. So that's the reality. And when everyone's putting their money in DXY, they're not putting it in other investments like stocks or crypto or even gold. Even gold is selling off. I mean, there's like literally nothing that is going up right now as a whole other than the DXY, which is why more and more people are putting money into the dollar. Joshua, welcome, new member. BUSD is the best stable coin. I think it's going to take over USDT eventually. I think USDT, yes, is going to die. And the market cap of USDT has stopped and has not really gone up for years now. USDC has caught a lot of ground, but USDC recently caught a lot of FUD too, because their compliance to the U.S. Treasury's request to block tornado cash, right? That turned off a lot of people. So BUSD could definitely catch up to both of these. Maybe not anytime soon. But, you know, even if it does, big deal. It's a stable coin. You're not making any money by holding on BUSD. Squirrel says ADA $15 very likely. No, that is not very likely. That's crazy. You know, people still don't know, or they don't care about market cap, right? Market cap is important. That puts things into perspective, okay? So you got to realize, like, something like XRP will never go to $589 because it'll give it like a crazy 10 trillion market cap or something like that, right? Same thing with Cardano. You can't expect Cardano to ever reach Ethereum levels or Bitcoin's level. It won't happen because there's more ADA circulating than either one. And, you know, the market cap at that point, if it does happen somehow, it'd be like tens to hundreds of trillions. It's just not going to happen, right? So people new in the space, you have to do some math and look at what's realistic, right? What can a project get to eventually? Can it be bigger than Bitcoin at 366 billion right now? Sure, it can happen, but that would mean Bitcoin has to be much bigger. Bitcoin has to be in the trillions for that to happen, right? Yeah. Zach, look at it. I mean, since 2018, there's been many that's been waiting for XRP to hit $589. Did I get my FSD invitation? No, I did not. I'm losing faith on Tesla because I'm never going to get my FSD, and my current autopilot is not that good. But, you know, it is what it is. All right, guys. I guess let's call it a day. Let's call it a day. You know what? I will be going on another channel right after this, around 9:30, CTO Larson. I've heard of him before, but I'm not that familiar with him. Hopefully we're going to have a good chat, a good interview. So I'll be on his channel, CTO Larson. But in the meantime, stay strong, my friends. A lot of fear over what this guy is going to do, right? And how much pain may be coming with the next rate hike, which is predicted right now at 75 basis points, but it could be even higher than that. So stay strong, have patience. Bitcoin is the way. Don't give up. More and more people are turning to something like Bitcoin because they're just fed up with, yeah, you get it, fed up with what's going on around the world. You know, so we'll just have to be patient and we'll get through it. All right. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Super Google, last question. I accumulate as much BTC as I had at my peak. And now I'm one down payment for an apartment and a Ferrari richer. Okay, good. Good for you. I'm glad to hear it. All right, guys. I'll see you guys tonight, and you can check me out on CTO Larson's show, too. All right, take care. Bye-bye.